The hermit kingdom of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea is so shrouded in mystery that our preconceived notions have largely dismissed this nation as a strange, desolate place governed by an Orwellian regime that's obsessed with nuclear weapons.
Will you be so cocky when I slay you in front of the whole world, you Yankee mother?
But before you pass judgment on this reclusive country, here is some of the most interesting trivia about North Korea that might either confirm or contradict your initial opinions. Here are 10 things you didn't know about North Korea. What's up, Facnatics? This is Discovery Amuse serving up your daily dose of the most outrageous, outlandish, and out-of-this-world fun facts. Stay tuned for our number one pick because you might be surprised that it's actually legal in their country.
와우, 아주 멋져.
Oh, glorious leader says, very impressive, but in a sarcastic way.
Number 10. No internet access. You would expect that all countries across the globe are equipped with an internet connection, but count North Korea out, at least for the majority of its population. Like many other things in North Korea, the internet is highly regulated. Only a handful are allowed access, which includes government officials and the ultra-rich. In fact, a lot of locals don't even know that the internet exists.
평민들은 인터넷이 뭔지 인터넷 단어 자체도 몰라요. 저도 한 번도 경험해 보지 못했어요, 북한에서.
Even those granted internet access by the government are not as lucky as the rest of us. One, they have a really slow connection. In fact, North Korea was the last country in the world to launch 3G. Government-accessible internet is routed through China, and even owning a personal computer needs a permit from the police. Only government-sanctioned websites are available, so it's no surprise that North Koreans don't bother with getting access. One internet service provider named Joint Venture Co. is a walled-off intranet that only has about 5,500 sites. So the next time your Wi-Fi slows down, just be thankful you're not in North Korea. Keep watching to find out what the thing considered illegal in most countries is actually allowed and enjoyed in North Korea. Number 9. Sham Elections. I know what you're thinking. There can't be any elections in North Korea, right? It's governed by one of the world's longest-running dynastic dictatorships. But yes, they do have elections, and no, it's not quite like how other countries practice their right of suffrage.
Who cares about this stupid election?
Elections are the pinnacle of any democracy, and in case you're forgetting, the country's official name is the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. So they do take voting seriously, as in, if you're over 17 years old, you are required to head to the polling station.
선거는 그야말로 경의하는 최고 용자자용지 둘이 굳게 뭉친 우리 일심단결을 내놓리 선전하고.
But during the parliamentary elections, where about 700 members of the national legislature are chosen, there's only one name on the ballot, that of the state-sanctioned candidate. Technically, voters can opt to cross out the name on the ballot, but it's mostly unheard of. Besides, if you do so, you run the risk of being questioned by authorities for being a dissenter. Number 8. Prescribed hairstyle. You can imagine why the government wants to control internet access and the elections, but recommending hairstyle seems a little bit of a stretch. Well, not in North Korea.
You see that right there? What that mean? That mean I got shrouded.
Strict rules around appearance are just one of the many ways the regime enforces control. The rule was said to be instituted by Kim Jong-un in 2013. As of 2017, there are 15 government-approved hairstyles each for men and women. Salon and barbershop menus show the cuts that are allowed. Men are not allowed to have spiky hairstyles as they are deemed rebellious.
Okay, what are we doing today?
Yeah, I say, give me some that says I get up every morning at 5:30 and commute for an hour and a half to some bullshit job.
There is a bit of debate whether these hairstyles are, in fact, mandatory or mere guidelines to be followed. However, given the highly restrictive government North Korea has, it is safe to assume that people just follow it, for fear of punishment. Number 7. Different calendar. While most of us follow the Gregorian calendar, which begins year 1 on the birth of Jesus Christ, North Korea uses what's called the Juche calendar, which began on the birth of the country's founding father, Kim Il-sung. That means with the Gregorian calendar, North Korea starts its year 1 in 1912. So in that part of the world, it's only the year 110 and not 2021.
What year is it?
1995, remember?
This calendar was decreed in 1997 during the third death anniversary of Kim Il-sung. Since then, it has been officially used in all documents, newspapers, banknotes, birth certificates, and everything you need to put a date on. In this decree, it's also stated that April 15, which is Kim Il-sung's birthday, is officially declared as the Day of the Sun. This annual celebration is the most important holiday for North Koreans.
태양들은 만물이 소생하고 정말 어떻게 수령님은 하늘에 있는 분이신지 정말 태양도 망부살이는 것 같아요, 사실.
Number 6. Own time zone. At one point, North Korea even declared their own time zone, further proving that the supreme leader's power knows no limits, not even time itself. Eat your heart out, Dr. Strange. On August 14, 2015, Kim Jong-un established the Pyongyang time, and the nation's clocks were simultaneously set back 30 minutes from South Korea's standard time. Apparently, the normal time zone was established during Japan's colonial rule, and the supreme leader wants to erase all remnants of the Japanese occupation. However, less than 3 years later, on May 5, 2018, Kim Jong-un decided to reset North Korea's clock and synchronize their time with South Korea once again. The decision came as a symbolic gesture following the historic Inter-Korean Summit in 2018, where Kim Jong-un met with South Korea President Moon Jae-in, and the Panmunjom Declaration for Peace, Prosperity, and Reunification was adopted between the two countries.
I think unifying the time zone is a meaningful first step to successfully implement the historic Panmunjom Declaration.
Number 5. Secret tunnels. North Korea is known to have one of the biggest armies in the world, and President Kim has always been vocal that he's ready to strike back when threatened.
The entire United States is within range of our nuclear weapons, and a nuclear button is always on my desk. This is reality, not a threat.
Aside from their nuclear weapons, North Korea has another battle trick up their sleeves: hidden tunnels. There are currently 4 tunnels confirmed, and these tunnels are said to have been built to easily invade South Korea once a war erupts. The first tunnel, which was tipped off by a North Korean defector, lies on the South Korean side of the border and is equipped with electrical lighting and weapon storage. It can fit 2,000 soldiers traversing the tunnel per hour. North Korea denies the existence of other tunnels apart from those already discovered, but there's much speculation that countless more hidden tunnels are scattered across the country and probably along the South Korean side of the border. Number 4. Intergenerational punishment. North Korea's founder, Kim Il-sung, is well known as one of the most ruthless dictators of all time. During his decades-long rule over the Hermit Kingdom, he allegedly caused the death of around 1.6 million people through enforced disappearances and deathly prison camps. Anyone who went against him was punished.
One of the harsh realities of North Korean detention facilities is they will be subjected to torture, sexual abuse, forced medical procedures.
But it wasn't enough for Kim Il-sung to punish the dissidents, defectors, and rebels. He believed that if left alone, their successors would cause the same threat to his regime. To prevent this, Kim decided to imprison their families too, and the next 2 generations born in prison shall remain there for life. North Korean defector and human rights activist Shin Dong-hyuk was a victim of this intergenerational punishment. He was born in prison and would have remained behind bars for the rest of his life. But by some miracle, he was able to escape, and Shin is now known as the only prisoner from a North Korean labor camp to have successfully done so.
I just wanted to try and have a taste of normal food what people in the outside ate to be able to have a full stomach. I wanted to do this even if I got caught and to be shot to death or to be beaten to death.
Number 3. The Pleasure Squad. Another obscene demonstration of the regime's power, this time of the sexual kind, is the infamous Kipumju, or Pleasure Squad. The Pleasure Squad is an alleged group of at least 2,000 women of various ages who are maintained by North Korea's supreme leader to provide entertainment to himself, other government officials, and even foreign investors and guests. This can range anywhere from serving tea and performing song numbers to providing sexual pleasure.
And they literally make sure these all teenagers watch public execution daily basis. So they are so drilled in their minds that no matter what happens, I want to be obedient because I don't want to be like that, be executed.
This practice has long been in the Kim family's history, dating back from Kim Il-sung's time, who was said to have targeted virgins because he believed having sex with them allowed him to remain youthful by absorbing their life force. Number 2. North Korean caste system. During Kim Il-sung's rule, government agents gathered information on all individuals, which was then used to create a rigid caste system called Songbun. In this system, citizens are divided into 3 major groups based on their loyalty: core, wavering, and hostile. These groups are further classified into about 50 sub-classifications. The classifications determine where you will live, work, or the kind of education you will receive, among other things.
Only the most politically reliable people are allowed to live in the capital, Pyongyang, and the most unreliable people are out in the countryside.
This system was supposed to weed out the enemies of the state, and the worst offenders are sentenced to gulags. The classifications are also set in stone. Therefore, the person must live according to their social type for the rest of their lives. Before we go to our number 1 pick, do us a solid and make sure to smash the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Don't forget to choose all so you won't miss out on any of our latest life-changing, boredom-busting content. And of course, be sure to turn on notifications in your app settings. Number 1. Legal weed. Most aspects of life in North Korea are highly restricted, but apparently the world's most isolated nation is a stoner's paradise.
Old Toby, the finest weed in the South Valley.
In a country where human rights are close to nil, marijuana is actually allowed, and it's not even considered a drug. Not only that, cannabis grows unregulated in the country just like any other plant, making it a widely enjoyed pastime, especially for workers and soldiers who like to relax after a long day's work.
I'm not your papa.
So, which of these facts about North Korea surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments section below. Take home any of our exclusive gear by browsing our merch shelf or clicking the link in the video description. And while you're at it, take our quiz to find out how you can earn extra cash online doing what you do best. Awesome, right? Now, let's further feed your wanderlust as we travel to the 9 strangest countries in the world. Till then, stay curious, Factnetics, and see you in the next video.